Okay, so hi and welcome. I know that we have come back. We just had Monday being the public holiday. It was the King's birthday. So I know some people are probably still coming into class, especially after having, 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as a holiday. So it's good to be back. I hope you had a wonderful, time, and I hope you spent that time studying and learning and going through as much as your English because it needs to be a daily practice of your English. So yeah, let's talk about what did you end up doing before we get into the class. Start with Joanna. Joanna, what did you do yesterday on the public holiday, the day off? Were you working, or did you have the whole day free? What did you do? You worked. So was it busy? Because when it's a public holiday, usually people will come out more to the cafes, to the, okay, just a normal. Yes. So you worked and went home. But was it busier yesterday because it's a public holiday? Was it more busy? No, or just normal? Yeah. Okay, that's all right. So a normal working day, but no class. So that's good. Ojulan, what about yourself? What did you do yesterday?
Yesterday, right,
Yes.
in Darwin, my son born, my wife, we went to botanic garden.
Yes, the Botanic Gardens, beautiful. Yes, and it was a nice day because it wasn't raining. It was nice and sunny. So that's a beautiful day. You walked through the Botanic Gardens.
And
Yes,
take a
about an hour. Beautiful. That sounds like a beautiful plan just with the family. So with your daughter, your son-in-law, and your wife. Yeah, beautiful. Van, how about you? What did you end up doing yesterday? What did you do?
Yes, teacher, I still work
I work as well.
in the holiday. Yeah,
Oh no,
yeah,
so
holiday
lots
I
of
still
work.
work. Yeah,
Yes, that's okay. And was it busy as well? Because when it's a public holiday,
yeah.
usually
No,
out.
no busy. Just this public holiday. Just work in a cold
Coles.
plaza, Southgate Plaza. Yes, Southgate Plaza. And this holiday, the cold is closed. Yeah,
Yeah.
only my shop open. Yeah,
Only only your
yes,
shop was open. Yes. Hey, Fernando.
yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay, that's
Oh.
cool. And how about Solange? What did you get up to on the long weekend? Maybe resting and yeah. So let's get into the class. So because um we are now on unit 4. So unit 4 is titled free time. So this unit, we're going to be talking about free time. So as how I started earlier, I was asking you guys if you had the day off because it was a public holiday. And if you did, what did you do? That would be a free time. So for me, yes, I did not have work, so I had free time. Um, and in your free time, you do what you love doing. So whether it's spending time with your family or it's going somewhere where you haven't been in a while or doing some activity, it could be anything. So free time is what Unit 4 is all about. So let's have a look at this image. The caption says early morning at Snoqualmie Falls in Washington, USA. I probably mispronounced that, but we get an idea. So we can see it's a mountainous area. they're fishing, right? So it looks like maybe father and son, and together they are fishing. It looks like it's early morning because the sun is just coming out. It looks like it's pretty cold, you know, because they're wearing their jumper and pants and it looks like it's just a nice time spent doing some activity in their free time. So let's listen to a conversation about 3 people talking about their free time activities. So we have a conversation. We'll listen to it once and then we'll answer some questions. So just listen. Try not to take any notes or, you know, just listen as if you are in the conversation. So try and see if you can understand as much as you can. I will play it again, but for the first time, I always recommend just listening. Don't take notes. Don't look at the screen or the textbook. Just listen. Okay, so I'll play it starting now.
Track 38, Unit 4 Opener. 1. Well, in my free time, I go shopping. I go every Saturday with friends. We go to the city centre. It's fun. 2. After work, I go to the gym. I go about 3 times a week. After a long day with lots of other people. It's nice to go on your own. And it's good for you, of course. 3.
In my free time, I go fishing with my brother. We get up early in the morning and drive to some quiet and beautiful places. It's very relaxing.
Okay, so let's listen again. And this time, look at number 2. We've got person 1, person 2, and person 3. So what is the activity? When do they do the activity? With who do they do the activity? And why do they do the activity? So let's fill in these gaps. So person 1, person 2, and person 3. And I'll play it now.
Track 38, Unit 4 Opener. 1. Well, in my free time, I go shopping. I go every Saturday with friends and we go to the city centre. It's fun. 2. After work, I go to the gym. I go about 3 times a week. After a long day with lots of other people. It's nice to go on your own. And it's good for you, of course. 3.
In my free time, I go fishing with my brother. We get up early in the morning and drive to some quiet and beautiful places. It's very relaxing.
Great activities. So person 1, what activity do they do? Go shopping. When? Every Saturday. So every single Saturday. With who? With her friends. And why? Because she enjoys it. It is fun. Person 2, where do they go? To the gym. When? 3 times a week. And with who? On their own, by themselves. And why? Because it's good for them. It's good for the health. Person 3, they go fishing. When? Early in the morning. With who? With their brother. And why? Because it's very relaxing. Yes. So I want you to think about what do you do in your free time? So Joanna, what do you do in your free time? Sorry, you. Yeah. Sorry, what is it? Ah, you watch Netflix? Yep. Cool. So in your free time, you watch Netflix? Yep. Movies and yep. Alexandria, what do you do in your free time? Yeah.
Watch Netflix.
As well. Oh, good. That's very good. Yes. So you exercise, you read a book and watch some movies. Good in English. That's what I want to hear. Good. Conrado, what do you do in your free time? When you have free time, no work, no studying, what do you do? To run? Good. Yeah. So you go for a jog or you go for a run? Good. Listening to music? Yes. And reading. Good. Fernando, what do you do in your free time? Yep. To go to places? Video games? Yes. And spend time with your wife. So if you're ever married, you have to always remember your free time is also a time with your loved one as well. Yes. Nice. And Ojalon, I guess the same. You've got family. Beautiful. Yes. To walk.
When you stop, you'll be five.
Yes. Yeah. So you play a bit of soccer and watch TV series. Yep. Good. Van, what do you do in your free time? I might just continue. So free time, that's all good. You all talked about really good free time activities. And there's many reasons why we do them, whether it's to relax, whether it's to keep our minds busy or to keep our bodies moving, because maybe at work we don't move. So there could be many reasons, but as long as it's an activity that you enjoy and it's in your free time, it could be any activity. Okay, so let's continue. And looking at 100% identical. So that means 100% the same, identical, the same, exactly, 100%. So let's read. I'll read and then you can read after me so we can practice our reading and pronunciation. So we have the title and I can see 3 images. And I can see an introduction and then I can see some subheadings about twins. So they're identical twins. So let's have a read. So 100% identical. Identical twins. If you want to read, yeah. Identical twins have the same eyes and the same hair. But they do not like doing the same things. What do they do in their free time? The Mulgray twins. Mona and Helen Mulgray are 77 years old. They love books and they write crime books together. They live in the same house and they like the same free time activities. They like gardening, and on the weekend, they go walking together. The Kit twins, Camille and Kennerly Kit, are musicians and actors. They both play the same musical instrument, the harp. They do taekwondo, and they like swimming together, of course. Good. The Phelps twins, James and Oliver Phelps, are actors, and they are famous as the identical twins in the Harry Potter films. In their free time, they love playing golf and computer games. They like football, but they don't like the same teams. Oliver is a fan of Aston Villa, and James is a fan of Birmingham City. Okay, interesting. So 3 twins, sets of twins, 3 twins. So we have some vocab. Crime, that's when people do bad things. Identical, it means exactly the same, identical. And twins is when there are 2 children that are born exactly at the same time. They're twins from the same mother and of the same father, of course. So reading, do you know any twins? Only when I was young, but not now. Does anyone know any twins? No? Do they do the same job? Do they have the same hobbies and interests? I've heard of some twins, they're just very different. Some twins, they're just very different to each other, but some are exactly the same. They love the same, doing everything together. So, if not, so if we don't know any twins, how about, do you have a sibling? So a sibling can mean a brother or a sister. And do you spend your free time with them? Is anyone very close with their sister or their brother? No? And do everything together? No? Kind of? Okay. So we read the article. We know it's about identical twins. They look exactly the same. And is the article about their work, their free time, or both? Pretty much both, yeah? Because they told us about their work. You know, these 2 ladies, they write crime books. These 2 younger ladies are actors and musicians. And these boys are actors as well. And yeah, and then we talked about all their activities. So both. We can say that we read about both their work and their free time. So the Mulgray twins are writers. The Kit twins are musicians and actors. So we can write that there. Musicians, so they play an instrument, and actors, they act in movies. And the Phelps twins, musicians. Sorry, actors. Free time activity, the Mulgray twins, gardening, walking. The Kit twins, taekwondo, swimming. And the 2 boys playing golf, watching football. Yeah, and watching football. Okay, let's go to the next page. We're looking at when we have a verb and we add a noun. So I'll just get out some notes so we can write some notes. Okay. So we can see we use certain verbs with certain nouns, and they have the ing form. So when we talk about, we can see, like in this example, do yoga. They're two. Do is the verb and yoga is the noun. Go camping. Go is the verb, camping is the noun. Go cycling. Go running. Play computer games. Play football. Play golf. Read a magazine. Watch TV. So some of these hobbies or activities take the verb do. Some of them take the verb go, because you don't do cycling, you don't do running, and some of them take play, because we don't play yoga, we don't play camping. So just take, or watch. So just take notice that when we have an action activity, we use a verb to explain how we're doing it. So we do yoga, we go camping. It's something you need to go to do it. You know, taking a jog. So you can see taking is the verb and jog. Or you could say, another example would be, you know, driving off-road. Driving is the verb and then off-road is the noun. So we've got the verb and noun. So when we speak about our activities, we say we like or we love. You can say either one. To say love is just showing more passion. Like, I love reading. But I could say I like reading, but love is just more passion to it. And we put ing. So I love reading. That was a good example. I like football. Or I like to play football. So sometimes you can say you like the activity, could be an ing, or it could just be the noun. So camping would be here. I like camping. But then I like watching, I like yoga. So I'm using the noun. I like football. I like video games. That's the noun. So we had examples, reading a book, watching Netflix. A lot of us like to just chill and watch Netflix, go hiking or fishing, cooking or baking, going to a place. I think Fernando said he likes to go to places in his free time, making or doing a barbecue, SMSing, texting, writing, they're all activities as well. Okay, let's match the verbs to the noun. So number one, we go, we go swimming. We go swimming. So I might add that with the example here, go swimming. So number 1E, go swimming. That's that one, go swimming. 2, play, H, golf. Yep, so we play golf. Play, yeah, play golf. 3, we do taekwondo or yoga. So we do if you're wondering what taekwondo is, there's an image just under here. That is taekwondo. We also do yoga, Pilates. Yeah, we do taekwondo, we do yoga, we do Pilates. That's how we must say that we do this activity. Okay. So number 3 was F. We do taekwondo. 4, we play computer games. Or video games. It's more common to say video games, computer games. So number 4A, play video games or computer games. 5, we watch films. Yeah, so watch films. Netflix, films. So now we just say Netflix. It used to always be we just watch films, right? Or we rent, hey? Titanic. That's a favorite. So we watch Netflix, we watch films, we watch movies. I mean, it's all the same. Netflix has become now the word that replaces films and movies. So we watch B. So 5B. 6, we play a musical instrument. Yeah. Yeah. So we play the piano, so I'll just put the example, piano, the guitar. Yeah, we play something. Play musical instrument, G. So 6G. 7, we go to the gym. So we either go to a place or we go to the gym. So you could say the name of the place. That's what it is. So we go to the place, or you can say what that place is. The gym. We go to the movies, or you can say we watch the movies. We go to the cinemas. We go to the park. You go to the park. So that's some example. So we must say go because you're going there. You're not doing it because doing means your body is doing it, you know? Watching just means like you're looking, you're watching. And playing, again, it has to be a sports where you're actually playing, you know, the sports. But making or doing a barbecue, because you actually have to make it. You have to prepare the meat, you have to make the salad, so you make a barbecue. So lots of activities, right? We know how to talk about different activities. We meet. Yeah, we meet friends on the weekend. That's meet friends. Yeah. Or see, you can say you meet or you see. I like to see my grandparents. Yeah, meeting up with friends, or meeting up is another word. Meeting up with friends is an activity. That's another way to say it. Meeting up, catching up. You can say catching up. Catching up with friends. Okay, let's do number 5. Let's complete the questionnaire with 5 free time activities. So you can see here, it says, in your free time, do you put some activities? Remember, there's 2 spaces. So do yoga, take a nap. I mean, it could be anything, you know, go to the movies. Don't forget that there's a verb and then there's a noun. I'll give you 2 minutes just to write some other different, not the ones that we did, some other activities. I want to see if you can think how to say it properly with the verb and then the noun. So I'll give you just 1 minute and then I'll ask. And yes. So Solange, what do you like to do in your free time? Does anyone have just one activity who would like to tell me? Different to what we have, has to be different. Riding a bike, good. Riding, yes, good. So you've got your verb, riding a bike, good. Yeah, riding. In your free time, yeah. So going traveling, you could say, because you need a verb and then going traveling. Oh yeah, going to place. Yeah, going traveling. Yeah, you just say traveling. What do you do in your free time? I travel. Travel. Riding a bike. Good. Any other activities? Remember, it should be. Yeah, reading a newspaper. Reading the newspaper. Yeah. Reading a book. Newspaper. Do shopping. Yeah, we do shopping. Yeah, I do shopping on the weekend. Or we go. Actually, do or go. For that one, you can go shopping. Yeah. Any other activities that are different to what's on here? So remember verb and then the noun. Verb. Yeah. Play soccer. Yeah. Some people, yeah, I know. Yes. Catch up on sleep. Maybe that's catch up on sleep. That's an activity. Catch up on sleep. Take a nap. Take a nap in their free time. Yeah. But you can see there's always a verb, noun. Verb, noun. Any other activities that you could think of? Surf. Yeah, we say surf the internet. Good one. Yeah, that's a very good one. Surf the net. Yeah, I surf the net. I Google. I go on Google. Now we say I look up stuff on Google or I go on Google. Yeah. Surf the net. Yeah. Surf the net, go on Google. Good. Okay, good. So we get to the grammar. So we just spoke about that. We add like or love. So that's our rule here. When we talk about an activity, that's how we talk about it. One is just for the verb, one is if it's a noun. So they love books. So books. They don't like the same football teams. So to make it a negative, we say don't. So we know negative. add don't. Or doesn't, if it's he, she, it. A question, we know how to make a question. We've looked from what we learnt previously. Does for he, she, it, or do? Do you like football? Does he like football? Does she like football? So questions, we know how to make a question using so do or does. Subject. So she likes swimming. She likes swimming. I don't like dancing. That's the negative. I don't like an activity. Do they like doing the same things? So if we look at this grammar box, which three sentences have like, love, plus noun? The first one, they love books. Books is a noun. Love is the verb. The second one, they don't like the same football teams. That's a noun. And does he like football? So the first three. Can you see the nouns? Books, football teams, and football. So the first three. Which three sentences have like, love, plus the ing form? This one. So I can see it's the last three. She likes swimming. I don't like dancing, the ing. Do they like doing the same things? Okay, any questions on that? So we understand subject, like, love, and then it could be verbing with the action or the noun. You can tell it's a verb if there's an ing. So if you want to say swim, I like swim. No, I like swimming. Swimming is an action. It's not a noun. The pool is a noun, but the action that you're doing, the activity is swimming. Okay, so you can go to the article and underline the sentences with like, love, plus a noun or the ing form. I'll just give you 1 minute to do that and then we'll come back. So we're looking back at the article and underlining the sentences with like, love, and the noun or the ing. So I'll show you if I go to the article. If I go to the article, let's have a look. Like doing. So there's my first underlining. So like doing, you can see I've highlighted that. Love books. That's your noun, love books. Like the same free time activities. Like gardening. go. Oh no, we need like. Like swimming. Love playing golf. Like football. Don't like the same teams. There's a negative. So that's what it should look like. You should highlight or underline like, love, plus a noun or plus a verb with the ing. Okay, number 9 tells us to listen and repeat these verbs. So playing. So when we have the ing, we must say it by itself. It's an ing. So always say the words that come before it and then ing. So playing. Listening. Sorry, listen. Ing. Sorry, I just said it fast. So listen. Ing. Listen. Ing. Yeah. Sing. Ing. Watch. Ing. Go. Ing. Do. Ing. Dance. Ing. Shop-ing. Yes, that's what it should sound like. So we don't want to be quick to read these actions. We need to pronounce the words clearly before the ing. So play. You remember the Y always has a E, like a very long sound. So playing. Listening. Singing. Good. These are activities, actions, activities, hobbies, free time. So I want you now to write 3 sentences. Try and use, one is in the affirmative. So it's saying I like, I love. You can put the ing or the noun. Make one in the negative. I don't like, I don't like whatever activity. And you can make a question. Do you like going for a walk? So write 3 sentences and I'll give you 2 minutes to write 3 sentences. To make it more interesting, how about you write 3 sentences? 2 of them are true and 1 is false. And we're going to guess. Like, for example, Alexandra could say, I like swimming, I like reading a book, and I like walking my dog. We have to guess which one is not true for her. Okay, so you have to make 1 false statement, 1 false activity about yourself, and we are going to guess which one it is. So let's see if we can all guess. Don't make it too obvious. Like if Fernanda was to say, I like, I don't know, putting on makeup, we're not going to believe him. So it has to be something like we could really be, does he like it or not? Or if he says, I like, I don't know, some girly activity, we're going to say no, we're not going to believe it. So try and make it as real as possible so that we could think, is that real or not real? Okay, 2 minutes. So Van and Solange, you can write 3 sentences about your activities. So not the negative or the questions, just write 3. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. So I love this example from Solange. She wrote, so she's using a negative, I don't have much free time, but to be honest, when that happens or when I do, it depends on my mood. If I'm not, it depends on my mood. I think full stop. If I'm not feeling well, I prefer to stay at home, lying down, watching a good movie, away from the hustle and bustle of people. Full stop. If I'm excited, I like to go for a walk. If it's hot, I like it to enjoy a, so if it's hot, I like to go to the beach. We just say go. I like to go to the beach because I like to contemplate the immensity of the sea and sunbathe. Yeah, good. So we like to go to the beach, or I like to swim in the ocean. I like to go, yeah, to the beach, to the ocean. Yeah, very good. Thank you for your example of telling us about what you do in your free time. And I like how you say it depends if I'm feeling well or not. And even though you don't have much free time, but when that happens, it depends on your mood. So very good. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let's get into who would like to tell us 3 sentences about themselves? And we have to guess whether the activity is true or false for that person. So I'll go first. I'm going to say 3 activities. You have to guess which one is the false one. I like dancing bachata. That's true. That's an easy one. I like, so 3 sentences, ready? Which one is the false one? So I like dancing bachata. I love going for walks, and I like swimming. Which one is the false one? I do like swimming. It's the love of walking. I tried to trick you because I said love. So I not that I don't like it, but it was not the activity. So no, I actually love swimming and I love bachata. So that's a good one. I tricked you there. So, sorry? Bachata. Did I pronounce wrong? You know bachata? Yeah, bachata? Yeah? Let me, I'll show you some bachata. I love it. Bachata, is that right pronunciation? Bachata. You don't know bachata? Let's watch this one. Because Brazil, samba. You never see bachata? I might pick a better video next. You do now. Let's go another one. That maybe wasn't. Let's see this one. Let's go that one. So this is bachata. Okay. So how about you? Tell me. Starting with Alexandria.
I like singing. Like I play chess.
Oh, which one do we think? We know she likes to sing because we saw her, remember? She definitely likes to sing. Chess or basketball? I think not chess. That's the lie. What do you think? Who says she doesn't like? I think she doesn't like chess. That's
I like, but I know love.
yes.
I love play basketball.
Yes, I had a feeling you like basketball. Good. Okay. Mariana. Okay, you like meditating? Yep. Yes. The first, meditating. No, you don't like meditating. Yeah. And we'll do one more, Conrado. Okay. You love boxing? Running? Running? Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to like playing computer games.
The last, computer games. Yes. But you have to, yeah. So you have to say, I love computer games. And then we could, yes. Okay. Fernando? Okay. He's already laughing like we can tell that's not real. Maybe he could be tricking us. We don't know. Singing? No. It has to be all I like, I like, I like. And then we have to think which one not true. So I like to sing, you said? I like to play soccer, yeah? Ah, dancing. That's fun. He doesn't like soccer, you think? Soccer. So dancing. He doesn't like dancing. Yes. Good. So you like to, did you say you like to sing? Oh, okay. Next time I remember that. And I love to dance, Solange. Yes, me too. Van, what do you like to do? Do you have 3 sentences with I like or I love and I like? And we have to guess which one is not true. No? Let's continue a little bit before we have a break. So free time activity in the Arctic. So we know if we have the world, on top of the world is the Arctic and on the bottom is Antarctica. So don't be confused. Arctic is on the top of the world, the North Pole. So let's look at some more everyday activities. So do online shopping, go for a walk. So that's the one that I said, you know, it's not my favorite to go for a walk. Have a coffee, make phone calls, play online games, read a book, browse the internet. So we say more like, I just go on the internet. We say more go now, but you can still say browse. Or as I said, surf the net, text friends, use social media. Or now we say we just go on Instagram, we go on Facebook, or we scroll on watch videos. So we kind of did this one. We have to write 2 activities and 1 we never do. Let's go to number 3. So look at the photo. What does Norbert Rosing, so that's his name, photograph? So I can see there is a man His name is Norbert Rosing. And what is he photographing? What is he taking a photo of? So taking photos, that's an activity. So I want you to see that you can hear that there's a verb now, taking a photo. So let's listen. An answer, I'll play it twice, and answer yes or no, or we don't know. So if we don't have information from the audio, from the listening, you could just write don't know. If yes, put a tick or just write Y. No, put an X or an N. So we've got these questions. Let's listen and answer 1 to 10.
Track 41, Unit 4B. Norbert Rosing's photos of animals are famous. His photos are often in the National Geographic magazine or on the website. A lot of his photos are of polar bears in the Arctic. Norbert goes to the Arctic once a year, and he always goes in the summer. He's sometimes there for a few weeks, and sometimes for a few months. He likes the Arctic because there aren't many people, and it's one of the last places in the world with no roads. He usually goes by snowmobile and by boat. Between August and November, you can see polar bears every day. Also, in the summer, the sun shines 24 hours a day in the Arctic, so Norbert can work at night. In fact, he takes the best photos at night. He doesn't often work during the day, so he has a lot of free time. He never sleeps at night, so he sleeps for part of the day. Then he reads a book, plays computer games, or goes for a walk. He's not often bored.
Let's play it one more time. So 1 to 10, answering these questions. And at the same time, have a think. Do you think Norbert has a good job? Why or why not? So have a think of that question as well. And I'll play it one last time.
Track 41, Unit 4B. Norbert Rosing's photos of animals are famous. His photos are often in the National Geographic magazine or on the website. A lot of his photos are of polar bears in the Arctic. Norbert goes to the Arctic once a year, and he always goes in the summer. He's sometimes there for a few weeks, and sometimes for a few months. He likes the Arctic because there aren't many people, and it's one of the last places in the world with no roads. He usually goes by snowmobile and by boat. Between August and November, you can see polar bears every day. Also, in the summer, the sun shines 24 hours a day in the Arctic, so Norbert can work at night. In fact, he takes the best photos at night. He doesn't often work during the day, so he has a lot of free time. He never sleeps at night, so he sleeps for part of the day. Then he reads a book, plays computer games, or goes for a walk. He's not often bored.
So are Norbert's photos in the National Geographic magazine and on the website? Yes? Yes. So also take notice of how we ask a question. So take notice of how we ask a question. Are, because we're talking about plural. Are Norbert's photos in the National Geographic magazine and on the website? Yes. Does, because we're talking about he, she, it. Does he, Norbert, photograph people? We don't know. It didn't say no. We know he photographs animal, but we don't know about the people. It didn't tell us that information. It didn't say no. So it didn't say. Does he go to the Arctic in the winter? Exactly. Because there's light 24 hours, remember, in the summer? Does he go to the Arctic? Sorry, are there roads in the Arctic? No, no roads. Does he travel by snowmobile and by boat? Yes. So if you don't know what a snowmobile is, I'll quickly show you. Snowmobile. Snowmobile. You'll always see them in movies, snowmobiles. So that's a snowmobile. So yes, he does travel by snowmobile and by boat. Does he travel with other people? We don't know. Didn't say. Yeah, doesn't say. Doesn't. It doesn't say. So doesn't. Does he photograph polar bears at night? Yes. Maybe this was at night. Polar bear in the Arctic, photo by Norbert. Yeah, maybe that's at night. That's the best time to take photos. Does he sleep during the night? No, that's the best time to take the photos. Does he play computer games? Yes. Is Norbert often bored? No, he's never bored. He's not that often bored. So do you think Norbert has a great job? I would like his job. Maybe it's a bit quiet and isolated, but it seems very relaxed, you know? He can do his free time activities. Yeah, maybe it's a bit cold, but other than that, I think his job is pretty awesome. Does anyone think no? They would never. Would you ever take on, if someone paid you to do a 1-month job like this, would you do it? No? I may be the cold, I don't know, but, and being by yourself most of the time, and no? Would you do it, Mariana, this job? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty different. Okay, so let's have a break. Now, when we come back, I want to talk about this word here, often, and other words that are like it. So when we use words like often, sometimes, occasionally, most of the time, never, hardly, these are called adverbs. So they're not verbs, they're not nouns, they're just called adverbs. And I want to talk about those words when we come back. So that's one good example of them, of one, often. And I'll explain it when we come back. We'll look at some grammar regarding these words: often, sometimes, never, occasionally, always, hardly. So you've probably heard these words a lot. We will talk about them when we come back. So let's continue. And as I was saying before, we were talking about adverbs. So grammatically, we call these words adverbs, and they're words like always, never, sometimes, occasionally, usually, often, quite often. Thank you, Mariana. Hardly, regularly, frequently, rarely, generally, not often. So anytime you see these words, they're called adverbs, and the rule, so why do we use them? Thank you. Is because when we say, we want to show how often we do an action. So I can say, I go swimming. We talked about that just before. I go swimming. That's go is the verb and swimming is the activity with the ing. I go swimming, or I like swimming, or I love swimming. But you don't know how much. Like, how much do I like it? Do I like it so much or not much? Not just how much I like it, but how often. So I always go swimming. Yeah, I sometimes go swimming. By these words, you can tell how much I really, if I say I always go swimming, that tells me how much I do that activity and how much, it's something I always do. Not often, so not much, I don't often go swimming. I rarely, not much, I don't rarely go swimming. I usually, like sometimes, quite often. I frequently, regularly. So that's what these words means. We're adding to what we learned before. Now we need to put them before the verb. Oh, remember the verb of activity. So subject, I always go swimming. So remember the verb of activity. If I look back, what's the rule? We talked about if we add I like or love, but it was reading a book, cooking, baking. So I always play golf. I always watch films. So that's the activities that we're talking about. So we can have these activities. We can just say how often we do it. So if I look at our textbook, we've got this activity where we're going to listen and fill in 1 to 6. But just before, let's have a look at the adverbs. So always, never, not often, often, sometimes, usually. And I've given you some extra ones here. So when we think of adverbs, I think of like 100% at the top and 0% on the bottom. So always is at the top, never is on the bottom. Sometimes is like in the middle, usually is about like 60%. Not often is maybe about like 10%. Often like 40, percent, and not often about 10%. And sometimes, maybe 50, 60%. So that's how I think of adverbs. It shows me how often I do an action. So if you do it a lot, you're going to say always. I always read a book. I always speak to my grandmother. I always take a walk. I always go fishing on the weekend. Always. Sometimes. So that's these adverbs. So let's listen and fill in 1 to 6 with these adverbs. So we know the rule. Just take a look at the grammar. Subject, adverbs before the action. So always, so you wouldn't say I go swimming always. It's best to put the adverb before. I always go swimming. Okay, let's have a listen and take note of the grammar and the activity.
Track 41, Unit 4B. Norbert Rosing's photos of animals are famous. His photos are often in the National Geographic magazine or on the website. A lot of his photos are of polar bears in the Arctic. Norbert goes to the Arctic once a year, and he always goes in the summer. He is sometimes there for a few weeks, and sometimes for a few months. He likes the Arctic because there aren't many people, and it's one of the last places in the world with no roads. He usually goes by snowmobile and by boat. Between August and November, you can see polar bears every day. Also, in the summer, the sun shines 24 hours a day in the Arctic, so Norbert can work at night. In fact, he takes the best photos at night. He doesn't often work during the day, so he has a lot of free time. He never sleeps at night, so he sleeps for part of the day. Then he reads a book, plays computer games, or goes for a walk. He's not often bored.
Okay, I think we should be fine to go through it. So number 1, Roxana, what did you hear? And you can read the full sentence. Yeah, they all could work, but we had to listen to the exercise to know. I'll go with Conrado. Did you get the first one? Yeah, the first one? No? Arjulan? Maybe it was a bit fast. Should I play it again? Let's play one last time. One more time. That's okay. Okay, so let's play it again, the audio. And fill in here.
Track 41, Unit 4B. Norbert Rosing's photos of animals are famous. His photos are often in the National Geographic magazine or on the website. A lot of his photos are of polar bears in the Arctic. Norbert goes to the Arctic once a year, and he always goes in the summer. He's sometimes there for a few weeks, and sometimes for a few months. He likes the Arctic because there aren't many people, and it's one of the last places in the world with no roads. He usually goes by snowmobile and by boat. Between August and November, you can see polar bears every day. Also, in the summer, the sun shines 24 hours a day in the Arctic, so Norbert can work at night. In fact, he takes the best photos at night. He doesn't often work during the day, so he has a lot of free time. He never sleeps at night, so he sleeps for part of the day. Then he reads a book, plays computer games, or goes for a walk. He's not often bored.
Okay, so number 1, did you get this one, Roxana? Still no? No, that's okay. Norbert's photos are often in the National Geographic magazine. Often. So maybe, 70 to 80% of the time, his photos are often in the magazine, in the National Geographic magazine. 2, Conrado. Yeah. So he goes to the Arctic once a year, and he always goes in summer. 100% always in summer. So if I just said he goes to the Arctic once a year, he goes in summer, that's fine. But I want to add always just to show you that this is very always. It's always in summer. No other time, only summer. 3, Ojalon.
Sometimes. Bom.
He's sometimes, yeah, there for a few weeks. Yeah, he's sometimes there for a few weeks. Sometimes, maybe about 70% of the time for a few weeks, maybe sometimes for once a week, for twice a week, or sometimes for three times a week. So he's sometimes. For Joanna. Yeah, so pronunciation, he usually. Usually. Yeah. Usually goes by snowmobile. Not snowmobile, snowmobile. And by boat. Usually. 60, 70% of the time, yeah. 5, Mariana. Yeah, he never sleeps at night. So he sleeps for part of the day. Never at night. Never. 0%. Never. And the last one, Alexandria. He's bored. Not often bored. Yeah, not often. Okay, good. We just added adjectives to adverbs to our activities, our hobbies, our activities, our free time. So if I look at these sentences, do adverbs of frequency, that's the full name that they call them, but adverbs come before or after the verb to be? Now let's talk about this one because we didn't talk about it. So we can also use, you can see the second one here. I'll put it in a different color just for now. We can also use adverbs, so in the red, when we talk about actions that have to be. So for example, to be hungry, to be tired, to be sad, to be happy. And so we say subject, I am, because I want to pick the present, I am always happy. So I can also talk not just about the activity, swimming, running, walking, playing video games, but also about the action that has a feeling to it. You know, to be tired, hungry, sad, devastated, depressed, to be lonely. So I can also add the adverb here. Again, that's where it needs to go, before the verb. And here, before the verb of activity. So do adverbs come before or after the verb to be? After. Yeah. So be careful. The verb to be, not the main verb, but the verb to be. Because you remember the verb to be is a helper verb. It's not the main verb. This is the main verb. I am happy. Happy is the main verb. I am is just a helper verb. And then always shows how much. I am always happy. How often? So yes, it comes after. Do adverbs come before or after other verbs? Before. So number 1 was after. We can see adverbs come after the verb to be. But in number 2, they come before other verbs. I always go swimming. I rarely go hiking. Okay, let's look at the grammar box. So it's like what I was saying before. You have always is like about 100%. Never is like 0%. So if I said, I'm often away on the weekends, do you think often is about here in the middle? I don't often, so that's your negative. I never play computer games. I'm often would be like number one. It's not always, but it's very close. Yeah, because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4. And sometimes is like less than often. So I would put number one is like often. Number two, usually, and sometimes they're like in the same here. Similar? Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, so they're like number two. And then number three is don't often. And number four is never. We've got never there. Hardly could be like number four. Hardly. I don't think they want you to put the words in here, but just imagine often is about where number two is, or just a little bit less than always. I often. And then number two is like sometimes, usually. Actually, occasionally. I might put occasionally in number two. These words really come to, yeah. I mean, you don't know because you have to ask, oh, well, how many times a week to know the exact answer. But this is just an idea. Someone's telling you, I always, sometimes, usually, never. So always think of the first 100%, 0%, and then you've got these ones that are in the middle. Sometimes, usually. But if you want to know exactly, you have to ask the person, oh, well, how often? Is it every week? Is it every night? Then you get more information. But this is an idea. This is how we think of adverbs. So it's not the verb. It's not the subject. It's an adverb. It goes, it's connected to the verb. So number 9, add an adverb of frequency to the sentences so they are true for you. So if I say I work 8 hours a day, I sometimes work 8 hours a day. I might put sometimes here for me. So remember, it must go before the verb. I sometimes work. So there's your verb. What is it for you, Joanna? Number 1. Perfect. I never work 8 hours a day. I hardly work 8 hours a day. Ojalon, number 1. Never. Number 2, I'm late for school. Alexandria, what would be your sentence for number 2? I'm usually. I'm always. Always means like every time. I'm often. Yeah, I'm often late for school. Yeah. I'm never late for school. I'm hardly late for school is if you want to make it the other one. Number 3. So remember where to add it, just before the verb. So it'd be here. It'd be after to be in this one, because to be late, to be tired, hungry, sad, happy, late. I have a long lunch break. I sometimes have a long lunch break. So I'm going to put sometimes. I sometimes. That's this one. I sometimes have. So you can write it for yourself. So just add the adverb that works for you. Number 4, I leave home early in the morning. Sometimes I'll put there for me, I sometimes. Does anyone always leave home early in the morning? Yeah, Joanna, always. I travel to other countries for my holiday. I hardly. So I don't want to say never, because maybe, you know, but I hardly, not much. So I'm going to put I hardly travel, and that's the first. I play video games late at night. I think Fernando, if he was here or coming back, he would say, I always play video games late at night. For me, I never. So that's this one, but with the verb of activity, because play video games, that's a verb noun. Remember just before we were talking about the verb noun for activities. So I, subject, never play video games late at night. I never really play video games at all these days. Okay, good. So we can see when we add adverbs. So continuing, we can ask a question, how often? So to ask a question with this, how often? Very simple. How often does, because he, she, it, does Norbert go to the Arctic? The person response is he goes once a year. So once a year is also an adverb. It tells you how often, once a year. He goes often. How often do you see polar bears in the Arctic? Between August and November, you can see polar bears every day. Every day is an adverb. So we can add that every day. So to ask a question, it's how often. What 2 words start a question about frequency? How often? Yeah, how often? That's your 2 words, how often. So number 1, which words, how often, make a question? When we want to know how often, 100%, 0%, or somewhere in the middle. I don't want to know, like, it's different to, you know, Roxana, do you swim? She's just going to say yes or no. But if she said yes, I say, oh, how often do you swim? Now that's a different question. She'll tell me, I swim every weekend. I swim once a week. So it's a different question. How often do you do something? We know the answers. Never, always, sometimes, usually, generally, every day, rarely, always. That's the response. So how often? So where do expressions of frequency once a year usually go in the sentence? Well, they can go at the end, but they can also go before the verb. So I could say, I go swimming once a week. Or I could also put it as I always go swimming. So in the response, you could have it in 2 places. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at these how often questions for these sentences. How often do you go to the gym? I go to the gym on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. That's giving the exact days. In another way, I could say I go to the gym 3 times a week. Or I go to the gym quite often. Because 3 times a week is really, yeah, it's often. I go to the gym often. My family goes on holiday in April and in September. So to ask a question for number 2, how often does your family go on holidays? Number 3, I read all my emails at 6 o'clock in the evening. So how would I ask someone? How often do you read your emails? Yeah. How often do you read your emails? How often do you read your emails? We visit my cousins in the summer. So the main action is visiting. So I want to ask a question about that. How often do you visit your cousins? Not my cousins, because then doesn't make sense. How often do you visit my cousins? How often do you visit your cousins? I drink a cup of coffee with breakfast at 11 and after lunch. So the action is to drink a cup of coffee. So the question, you want to find out how often? How often? Coffee. Yeah. How often do you drink coffee or a cup of coffee? Yeah. I meet my old school friends on the first day of the month. So the action, meet. So how often do you meet your school friends? So pretty simple. We've learned now how to talk about the adverbs, where to add them in our sentence, how to make a negative, and how to ask a question about these action and activities. So let's underline the words in the sentences. Change the underlined words in the sentences. So do you think the first one, I go to the gym on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. Which word in number A can we use to replace that? Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays? 3 times a week. Yeah, 3 times a week. So we can put 3 times a week. How about my family goes on holidays in April and in September? Twice a year. Yep. Twice a year. I read all my emails at 6 o'clock in the evening. I read all my emails every day because it's 6 o'clock in the evening at night. So every day. Yep, every day. So the first one we had 3 times a year. And then we had twice a week. Then we had every day. a week. Thank you. Yep, 3 times a week, twice a year, every day. We visit my cousins in the summer. Visit my cousins in the summer. Once every year. Every year, because it's in the summer, so every year. So then every year for number 4. So number 3 every day, and then number 4 every year. So every year. And I drink a cup of coffee with breakfast at 11 and after lunch. So I drink a cup of coffee twice a day. Sorry, with breakfast at 11 and 3 times a day. 3 times a day. So number 5, 3 times a day. I meet my old school friends on the first day of the month. Every month. Yeah. So every month. So we didn't use once, twice a year, every day. For number 3, you could say, I read all my emails at 6 o'clock in the evening. I read all my emails every day. Or I read all my emails once a day. So you do have once a day that could also be used for number 3. So let's prepare just one question with how often. So I want you to make a question that you're going to ask to someone in the class. So just one question, because we did have yesterday as a holiday, so we can't spend as much time. We need to keep moving forward. So just one question. So you have to make a question about a sport or exercise. So how often do you play? How often do you exercise or work or travel? How often do you go to work? How often do you work on the weekends? How often do you work on public holidays? How often do you travel to Europe? How often do you travel in summer? How often do you have holidays? How often do you have free time? How often do you watch a movie in the evening? How often do you do your homework on the weekends? So just one question, prepare one question. Could be about sports, exercise, work, travel, holidays, free time, evening or weekends, just as the examples that I gave. Okay, so I'll give you 1 minute to prepare that. Okay, so let's start with Ojalon. Pick someone in the classroom and ask them a question with how often. So you can ask them about sports, exercise, work, travel, holidays, free time, evenings, or weekend. Oksana.
How often do you travel to Peru?
Beautiful. How often do you travel to Peru since you've been in Australia? So how often do you travel to Peru? I traveled to Peru in December. Yeah. So, but how often? So once a year? Maybe once a year because only one time, December. Yeah. So once a year. Yeah, once a year would be the answer. Okay, Roxana, pick someone and ask them a question. Fernando. Do you take a holiday? How often do you take a holiday? So how often do you take a holiday, Fernando? Once a year? Yeah, once a year. Okay, one time in the year, once a year. Okay. Fernando, pick someone and ask them a question. Joanna. How often do you go to the beach? Good question. How often do you go to the beach? Once a month. Good. Joanna, pick someone and ask them a question. Mariana? It sounds like you said did. How often do? So we want to make sure it's a present simple question. So how often do you go out? Yeah, how often do you go out? So what that means is go out as in like to the movies, to dinner, to the pub, whatever. How often do you go out? Every night? Every weekend. Good. Every weekend. Mariana, pick someone and ask them a question. Maybe we can ask her how often does she practice basketball? Because we know, yeah, because we can say you play basketball. So how often do you practice basketball? Not often. Yeah, not often. Alexandria, pick someone and ask them a question. Yes, you can ask me. Oh, good question. How often do I work at home? How often do you work from home? Yeah, at home, from home. Quite often. Yeah. I don't really want to say often. I just want to make it a little bit less. So I add quite often. Yeah, often, quite often. Sorry, it's the opposite. I want to make it a little bit more than often, so it's quite often. So it's quite a lot. Like it's not always, because I didn't say always. It's a little bit less, quite often. Yeah, quite often. I'll pick Conrado because I think you're the last person. How often do you go to the cinemas? Yes, to watch a movie. How often? Not very often. Hardly ever. At home. Exactly. So hardly ever. So you first must respond with an adverb and then we can say, where do we do it? So hardly ever. Because I normally watch a movie at home. Yeah, good sentence. So hardly ever is a good one. Hardly ever. It's almost like never. Hardly ever. Not at all. Hardly ever. Okay, good. Let's keep continuing. So let's go to the next page. And we're looking at extreme sports. So not just sports like basketball, soccer. Extreme is like extreme sport is like you know, like extreme sports like this one, you know, skiing. Actually, this would be, you like this stuff, the hiking, bungee jumping, I don't know what this one's called, you know, rock climbing, this one. Yeah. 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 Just, yeah. No harness. Yeah. That's very dangerous. No harness at all. That's very extreme. This is all extreme sports. This, you know, the so this is what this unit is about, extreme sports. So let's look at these sports. We've got baseball, basketball, boxing, cricket, cycling, football, ice hockey, running, sailing, skiing, surfing, swimming, and tennis. So we can see some of them have an ing and some of them just not. So which sport do you play and which do you like watching on TV? I like swimming and I actually like watching it on TV as well. I guess, Alexandra, you like playing basketball. Do you like watching basketball games as well? Yeah. Yeah. Anyone like skiing? Skiing. Or any of the words you're not sure what they mean? We'll go through them. Which one? Cricket? Yes, cricket. Cricket. Australians love cricket. Cricket, and it's going to be on in a couple of months, the season for cricket. This is cricket. You never play in Brazil? No, not baseball. No, very different. Cricket. See? It's because it's like this, they're in the middle. Very different to baseball. Because baseball, you run around, like this one, you just run up and down from here to here. So you hit the ball and then you have to run there and then come back and run and then come back. So this is very big in Australia, very popular sports, cricket. Yeah. Baseball. Yeah, baseball, you can see very different. Baseball is more in the US, very popular in the United States of America. See, different uniform, and also the field is very different because they run, see, like in a square. Yeah. Yeah, in a square. So that's baseball. Okay, so which sports need a ball? Baseball, basketball, tennis, football, cricket. That's it. Which are in water? Swimming, sailing, surfing. Yeah, surfing. We know what surfing is, and sailing. I would like to I would like to do surfing. Yes, so don't forget we have to add the verb before the, I would like to go sailing, do sailing. Yeah, that's sailing. Me too. Yeah. I would like it so much as well. Like this, a big one, like, you know, I would love to do sailing. And we had surfing. Surfing. Let's look at surfing. This is surfing. Again, very popular in Australia. Very, especially in Sydney, Bondi Beach. Surfing. So, which are in water? Which are on snow? Skiing? Skiing? That's it. I think just skiing. Which are between two teams? Baseball, basketball, boxing, you could say cricket, football, ice hockey, tennis, swimming. I mean, you can be against team, but surfing, yeah. Which use the verb play? Do we play baseball? Yes. Play basketball? Do we play boxing? No, we do boxing. Do you, because again, you're using your body, so it's more like you're doing boxing. Do you play cricket? Yep. Play cycling? No, you go cycling. Play football? Play ice hockey? Play running? No, you don't play it. You go running. You do running. Play sailing? No, you go sailing. You do sailing. Play skiing? No, you go skiing or do skiing. And surfing? No. Play swimming? No, you play tennis. Which use the verb go? Go sailing, go skiing, go surfing, go swimming, go running, go cycling. Yeah. Okay, we've got an article to read on extreme sports. As we read the article, we got to match these four with the paragraph. So this sport is in the air, this sport is on the mountain, this sport needs water, this sport is always or often in high places. Take note of the adverbs. So let's read the article. I'll give you 2 minutes to read the article. And then we'll come back and read it together. And at the same time, find the adjectives in the article. So remember adjectives, we looked at them, is like exciting. It tells you, describes the noun. It's exciting. It's popular. You remember all the adjectives that we used when we were looking at places? So I'll just give you a few minutes to do that, and then we will come back. So I'll try and put the full article. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes. Opinion. And extreme paragliders can fly over 30,000 meters high. That's a fact. And number 5, the landscape is perfect. It depends how some people can say it's perfect. It's not. That's an opinion. It's not true information. Let me just repeat that because I was. Bye, Solange. See you tomorrow. Let me just repeat that. So we have a fact or an opinion. Fact, true information. Opinion, what I feel, what I think, what I believe. Everybody's different. I have a different opinion, you have a different opinion, but a fact will always be the same. It will never change. So do you think, what is the author? The author is the person who wrote the article. What is their opinion? What's their thoughts and their feelings about extreme sports? Do they like? I think so, because it was a positive article. It was, I think the author's opinion is that, yes, they do like extreme sports. Yeah. They wrote about, 4 different types of extreme sports. They said things are great adventure. Yeah. I think the writer enjoys extreme sports. They like them. Let's start the grammar before we go. So we've got some other grammar when we say can and can't. So can is when we have it's a modal verb. So that means that it's a verb which goes with another verb. So if I said to you, I went to the hills yesterday, there's only just one action. I went. And then I told you where. So I went, or I speak English. That's only one action. I speak. Subject, I, action, speak. English. That's it. English is a noun. So when we say can, there must be another action. You can't just say, I can English. It's I can speak English. So what's the difference between I speak English and I can speak English? There's a bit of difference because the first one is just I speak English. But the second one is showing that I know how to do it. So we use can when we don't put an ing or ed to the second verb. But we use can just to show that it's possible. I can do it. So it's like, compare it to will. If I said, I will see you tomorrow, that shows that I'm very sure. But if I said, I can see you tomorrow, then I'm just showing that it's a maybe. It's, maybe I can. I'm not 100% sure, or I'm giving you an option. I mean, if you want, I can see you tomorrow. So it's different to I will see you tomorrow, where I'm showing more, I'm being more certain, more, so I can. But we have to add it with another action. So just be careful. It's different to I speak English. I can speak English. So if we look at these sentences, he can jump between 20 and 30 meters. Now you could say he jumps between 20 and 30 meters, but he can. I'm just showing you that he is able to do it. He knows how to do it. To make a negative, we add not, so it becomes can't. Or we know that cannot, can't. Remember we talked about this is a contraction. Can and not, cannot, can't. So he can't see. So the main verb is always this one. That's the main verb. The can is just helping, just to show that it's possible. So for example, I would say, I can't speak Spanish. I can't speak Portuguese. That's my can't. I can't speak Portuguese. To ask a question, we start with the verb. We know that. So can you speak French? So can. You, and then the main verb. See you tomorrow. Can you speak French? To answer, always use the same verb. If someone says, can you speak French? Yes, I can. Do you have a pen? Yes, I have. Would you like a glass of water? Yes, I would. So always reply with the same verb. So can you speak French? Yes, I can. And then what do we add here? Very well. What's that? An adverb. Remember, I'm showing you how much. So I can speak French. I can speak French very well. Very well. And how well? So different, before we had how often. If you remember up here, how often, sometimes, always. This is different. How well, can. So we use well with can. That's how we make a question. But we can also make it with the 6 W's. You remember which, when, where, why, how. You can even make it with the how. So that's our questions. Let's practice it. Let's just look at the rules and then we'll practice it. So number 1, can is a modal verb. What's a modal verb? It means there's 2 verbs. So can is not the main verb. It's a helper. It has to be attached to the main verb. So remember, I speak English, but I can speak English. It doesn't change. The main verb is speak. I speak English. I can speak English. Can is just a modal. It helps to add to the main verb. Does it come before or after the main verb? It comes before. We can see here, can. It comes before the main verb. That's the main verb. And the main verb does not have an ing or ed. I can speak. I can play. I can give you my pen. I can, whatever, play video games. Do we add s to can for he, she, it? He cans? No. She cans? No. There's no he, she, it. So no. I can never, I can never find. Sorry? For which number? Subject. Yeah, how well can you speak Spanish? S is always subject. Yeah, that's okay. Because if I write subject, it's too long. So I always write S for subject. Yeah. Okay. Do we need don't in a negative sentence? Well, let's look at the negative. Does it have don't? No, it's just I can't. So no, we don't need don't. We only need don't in the present simple. So I speak Spanish. So I don't speak Portuguese. That's in the present simple. But in the can, it's I can speak Spanish and I can't speak Spanish. So the negative is can't. So no, we don't need don't. What are the adverbs in sentence B and D? B, very well. D, very well or a bit. Adverbs, remember? How often? Or how well? Where are they in the sentence? At the end. So we can add an adverb here at the end. So if we want, we can add an adverb, but it must be at the end, right here. Okay. How do you form the question? Well, you've got 3 ways to make a question, but in number E, it's using this one. So how well, and then you put can, and then you put the subject. Is it I, you, he, she, it, we, they, and then the main action. Can is a modal verb. It must go with the main action. You cannot have can by itself. Let's practice some of these and then we'll make our own sentences. So number 1, starting with Roxana, what would you say? Can or can't? 7-1, yes. Yeah. So I can swim very well, but I can't. So I went for the negative. Dive into the water. 2, Fernando. Yeah, how well? So very well, not very well. So always put the answer with well. Responses with adverbs: perfectly well, really well, pretty well, good, not so good is your answer. This how well is different question to how often, because you can tell from the answers. Remember how often was always, never, sometimes. That's how often. This one's how often, but we're talking about how well. So perfectly well, really well. Conrado, number 3. Yeah. No, I can't. 4, Joanna. Yeah, I can play the guitar well and the piano a bit. 5, Alexandria. Yeah, 6, Mariana. Yeah, the but is a so but it's a light, not heavy. You're making it. See you tomorrow. Not but, not very heavy. It's very light. But yes. Where's Anderson? We need Anderson to tell us but but. So it's a light up. It's an a sound, not a heavy but. Okay, so can let's ask a very quick question so we can finish off. See you tomorrow. Ken. So I'm gonna ask a question with Ken and then we can go. So I'm gonna say, Roxana, can you knit? Do you know what knit is? Can you knit? Like, you know? Yeah. Oh, yes, I can. Very good question. Oh, you have to make me something now. So you can say, I knit very well. Yeah, I knit very well. Perfect. So Roxana, I asked Roxana, can you knit? Because that's an activity. She said, yes, I can. Can you knit? Can you knit? And knit. The K is silent. And she said, yes, I can. And then she said, I can knit very well. So we want to practice how well. She said, very well. Roxana, ask someone a question. Can they what? Activity. Can they swim? Can you speak Italian? Whatever. Yeah. So this one, can you, main action. Can you swim? No ing. Remember the main action, no ing, no ed. Can you swim? Yes, I can. Yeah. And how well? Very well? Not very well? Very well. So I can swim very well. Very well. Good. Conrado, ask either Joanna or Mariana a question with can you. Can you cook? No ing. Remember main verb, no ing. Can you cook? How well? I can cook very well. Perfect. So I'll just repeat that one. So the question was, Conrado said to Mariana, can you cook? There's no ing, no ed. Not can you cooking, can you cook? Mariana said, yes, I can. And then she added, I can cook very well. Okay, Mariana, I guess you only have Joanna to ask. Yeah, can you ride a motorbike? Yes, I can. So yes, I can, just a bit. Yes, I can. No, not really just a bit. Not so well. A little bit. Like I can. Because not too well. Yeah. Yeah, I can pretty well. Yeah, not a bit. It's more like pretty well. Like it's okay. You're not amazing at the bike, but it's pretty well. Yeah, I can pretty well. Yeah, I can pretty yeah, I can do it well. It's more like you make it a negative. See you tomorrow. I can, but not perfectly well. I think that's how you want to say it. Yeah. Because there's no bit. We don't say just a little bit. A little bit is like, how much do you want? Sugar. Oh, just a little bit of sugar. It's more with quantity. So this is more with it's an action. So it's more like, yeah, I can do it so good, so well. Or I'm so bad, I can't do it. Or, I don't do it perfectly well. But I can. It's possible. I can ride a bike. Not perfectly well, but I can. It's possible. I know how to do it. That's why we use can, to show someone that I can do it. It's possible. I know how to. And we usually use can with activities. Can you speak Italian? Can you ride a bike? Can you swim? Can you play the guitar? Can you, can you, whatever? Can you, yeah. So can, remember, it's a modal verb and it must go with the main verb. So think of a simple example like I speak English. But when we use can, it's showing someone I know how to do it. I can speak English. I can speak English very well, perfectly well, amazingly well. Okay, so that's what we have. So we had to move a little bit fast, but tomorrow, next lesson, we're going to continue looking at more about, our abilities, what we can do, and our interests, what we enjoy doing. and some writing. So we're going to put all this into practice into our writing. So I know today you learned a lot of grammar, and always remember your pronunciations, especially the S's at the end of the words, and the ing. Today we talked about swimming. So make sure you focus on the ing, you focus on the ending, the S's. And yes, we will continue tomorrow. So yes, have a good nap, have a good sleep. Yeah. See you tomorrow. Bye.